My name is Brandon Lehman. I'm 28 years old. I'm an entrepreneur and investor, and this is how I became a Trump supporter. I was recording a video just before this, and I stopped midway and I thought to myself, since I started making YouTube videos, I haven't once told my audience who I am, why I see the world the way that I do, and how I became who I am today. I realized I want to be more than just a talking head on YouTube. I want to be somebody who my audience knows, understands, and has a deep connection with. I think by knowing my story, understanding my thought process, and knowing how I form my opinions, it'll enhance the experience for my now almost 190,000 subscribers. I'm gonna give you guys my entrepreneurial backstory and my personal backstory because each plays a pivotal and significant role in shaping who I became. So I've always been a very entrepreneurial kid, somebody who enjoyed hard work. From mowing lawns to shoveling driveways to selling candy at school, I enjoyed working hard and making money. When I was 14 years old, I pursued my first ever serious endeavor, which was making Call of Duty video game commentaries on YouTube. I was very passionate about this, spending 14 hours a day producing videos. I got my channel to around 10,000 subscribers, and I was making a few $100s per month playing video games as a 14-year-old. I was getting sent video games several weeks early, which was the biggest bragging rights I could possibly have as a 14-year-old boy. But more importantly, this whole adventure showed me for the first time and at a very young age the rewards that one could get from working hard and being passionate about something. At about 15 years old, I transitioned into becoming a rapper. Now, I did this for the rest of high school, and I took a lot of the lessons I learned from doing video game commentary about how to build a brand online and implemented into this musical endeavor. I was very successful. I had several music videos that had hundreds of thousands of views. I made several albums and mixtapes. I made sweatshirts. I did shows. And it was the first time that I really pursued entrepreneurship in a more industrious way. I was connecting with major artists. By the end of high school, I was engaging in some pretty serious level music business discussions. So this whole journey reaffirmed what I learned on my first endeavor, that if I work hard, I'm committed, and I'm passionate, I will be successful. And this instilled a level of confidence in me that has not left since. Music didn't end up working out. So right after high school, I got a job selling knives for Cutco. And this was the start of my transition into more serious business. My grandfather bought me a suit. He said I could not go into people's houses looking like a slob. And I will never forget the first time I put on the suit, put on a tie, looked at myself in the mirror and thought, wow, I look serious. I look professional. I really like this. And in that summer, I ended up becoming one of the highest selling sales reps for the Central Illinois area. And it was the first time that I developed an actual serious, tangible business skill that I could identify, which was sales. After that, I went to an event at the University of Illinois where in an auditorium were people from all different majors, marketing, engineering, computer science, business. The goal of this event was to pitch startup ideas, and students from various skill sets could partner and team up together. I pitched an idea for an app called Keep Up that allowed freshmen and international students to navigate this brand new university environment easily. I partnered with a brilliant Chinese computer science student who pushed me to achieve new heights I didn't even know I had within myself. Every meeting I would show up thinking I was prepared in my suit, and he would say, okay, yeah, this is fine, but what about this thing? Did you think about this? And I would say, oh, no, I didn't. And I would come back to the following meeting and I would say, I thought about the thing you mentioned, look. And he would say, okay, that's fine, but did you think about this? And I would be like, oh, no, I didn't. Then the next meeting I would say, hey, I thought about that thing. I worked that out. And he would say, okay, well, what about this? And that process of consistently pushing me to be better, to think deeper, was instrumental in my later growth. My partner's best friend was a guy who was about 25 at the time, and he owned a business on the University of Illinois campus. And him and I got very close through this process. We ended up starting a marketing agency called Market U. I was the director of sales, and I was thrilled to use my sales knowledge to be able to go out and get us business. One of the ways that I did this was going to local Chamber of Commerce events. Now I'm 19 at the time, wet behind the ears, and here I am at a Chamber of Commerce event filled with 40, 50, 60-year-old people. And my job is to go out and get new business. And this is where I learned one of the lessons that contributes significantly to why I became a conservative. I realized navigating a room full of 60-year-old white people that they didn't care that I was black. It was never a barrier. I provided a high-quality service that could improve these people's business, and they wanted what I was selling. I never got funny looks. I never got funny treatment. All I did get was $10,000, $20,000 checks from these people. They loved to be around me. They introduced me to their friends. They invited me to events. They treated me with respect and dignity because I was valuable and presented myself in a professional and respectful way.